Hi everyone. For those that don't know me, my name's Jamie, and today I wanted to make a quick video about a kind of very unheard of medical condition that I've had my whole life. And I just wanted to make this video because there is actually a cure for it. I just learned about it. It just got developed a few years ago, and I wanted more people to know about it because it's not a life-threatening dysfunction, but it is kind of life-ruining. So if there's anyone out there that has it and doesn't know anything about it, or if you know someone maybe, then you can tell them what this is and how they can fix it. Anyway, what is this strange condition? It's called, I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, Retrograde Cricopharyngeal Dysfunction, or RCPD for short, which in a nutshell is the physical inability to burp, which maybe doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but I can tell you it is. It's been slowly ruining my life over the last decade. It's gotten worse and worse. And I just wanted to put this out there because there is actually a cure for it, and I am trying to get myself cured. Anyway, the problem is in our throat we have a muscle called the cricopharyngeal muscle, and it controls the upper esophageal sphincter, which is the little flap that opens and closes when you swallow, when you burp, or when you throw up. And people that have this, theirs works fine for swallowing, but it does not work in retrograde, which means reverse. So when the air comes up, it just sits there and doesn't release, and then goes back down to the stomach and back down through, and you can guess where it eventually comes out. But that takes a long time, and in the meantime, you're enormously uncomfortable. The main side effect, or I guess problems that most people have, is bloating. Massive amounts of bloating because you have all this air in your stomach and it can't go anywhere. Can't come out like how it's supposed to. So bloating is a huge thing. You get these noises in your throat, which people call gurgling, frog noises, croaking, lots of people call them different things, which is just basically the air coming up, hitting this spot, being told, sorry, you can't come out, and then just going back down, and it makes all these noises, and they can be really loud. Stomach pain, intestinal pain, anxiety. I've had huge anxiety from it because it's just so uncomfortable. And it can lead to other serious things like hernias in your stomach because over decades of pressure, it just can't handle anymore, and you get a hernia. You can have your esophagus can stretch out from the same thing, too much pressure. I don't think I have any of those at this point, thankfully. So about over a year ago, I just randomly Googled one day, like, why can't I burp, or I can't burp, or something like that, because my bloating was getting so bad. And my husband was like, well, it's probably because you can't burp. And to that I said, well, I've never been able to burp, but I've never been bloated like this until the last few years. So I Googled it and was shocked that I found a Reddit forum called No Burp, and there's like 33,000 members or something, and these people all the same thing. It has a name, and there's a cure. And someone has very thoughtfully compiled a map, a Google Doc that has a map of all the known doctors around the world that perform this very simple, it's an injection, but it's a really small list because nobody knows about it. It didn't get a name until 2019 by Dr. Robert Bastian in Chicago, the Bastian Voice Institute. And I was shocked and really blessed feeling that there was a doctor here in the Phoenix area where I live that has been doing this procedure for quite a few years. So you can guess what I did that very morning. As soon as their office opened, I called and scheduled a consultation. I had to wait like 4 months because I was a new patient. And when I went in, basically there's really no diagnostic tests or anything. Basically, if you can't burp, you have it. And they do put a camera down your nose, and just to make sure there's nothing else wrong. What do they do? How do they fix it? So they inject Botox into the muscle. It's under general anesthesia, and they inject it right into the muscle, which paralyzes it or partially like relaxes it for a period of 3 to 6 months, which is how long Botox is active in your system. That's why people have to get it in their face, and they have to keep going back to get more. And it acts basically as training wheels for that muscle. It's not a neurological problem. It's actually just a muscle memory problem. And somewhere along the line, my muscle just stopped working that way. and I have theories on that, but we can talk about that later. So they inject this Botox into the muscle, and it kind of paralyzes it, relaxes it, and in that 3 to 6 months while it's active in your system, your body has to learn how to burp on its own. At that time, when it wears off, if you get to 6 months and you're still able to burp, you're generally considered cured. So I had my first injection in March of 2024. It was 50 units of Botox, and it wasn't very successful. And let me say the cure rate, I think they still say it's 80% are cured permanently the very first time. And then you can keep going back and trying it again. So the first one, really I had like 5 little microburps over the course of a week, and I had slow swallow, which is the most common side effect, which basically just means the food, because it kind of goes from that muscle kind of into your esophagus a little bit, and it just makes it harder to swallow food for a while. I had that for about 30 days. So you can imagine I was pretty disappointed. So I went back in the summer, I think it was in June or July, and had another one done. I wanted 100 units. My doctor wouldn't do that, so we negotiated on 80. I thought, all right, well, 50 kind of did something, so maybe 80 will be the trick. So did 80, and it did nothing, like absolutely nothing. I had no slow swallow, I had no microburps, I had nothing. So you can imagine I was pretty crushed, and you have to wait because technically the Botox is still in your system. They don't want to go back a month later and double dose you. That could be pretty bad as far as side effects. So I had to wait again. So I went for a third time, which is, there are people out there, there's some people on there that have had 4, 5, 6. I think I even saw one lady that had 10, and I don't know what's up with that, but that's a lot. Poor person. So for the third one, I had it done on December 2nd, 2024. I had 100 units. I convinced my doctor that it would be fine. I hardly had I had no side effects from 80, so and even if I have side effects, who cares? I'm suffering every day. If I have to have side effects for a few months, whatever, it's fine. I'll deal with it. So we had the 100 units, and the morning after I woke up, and it was quite a bit different. I could immediately feel that I was starting to have little microburps, and my throat was doing something different. And then I started burping after that. It sounded really weird because my throat hasn't probably burped since I was 5 years old. And it kind of is still continuing. So right now, as I make this video, it is, I don't know what day it's today, January 21st, 22nd. It's been 7.5 weeks. So I'm still a long ways away from that 6 months, and I have no idea if I will make it and end up needing another one. I hope not. I pray every day that this is the one, because the relief is pretty immense. It's unbelievable how much better I feel. You have to do a lot of training. You drink seltzers. I drink 4 seltzers a day. There's all sorts of little exercises that I've seen people. This is kind of anecdotal, but I do it anyway because why not? It's free and doesn't take much time, and why not? If it's the one little thing that tips the scale in my favor, I'm going to do it. And so that is it. So anyway, I wanted to put this video out, not because I am looking for any sympathy, or I certainly don't like putting my face on the internet, but I just feel like it's something that really nobody knows about. It's the procedure is performed by an ENT, and it's actually very similar to something that all ENTs do all the time for a swallowing disorder called, I think it's dysphagia, which is just people have trouble swallowing. And they use the same Botox, but that is neurological, I believe, and so they have to have it done every 3 to 6 months. And the doctor that originally performed it in, I think it was 2019 or 18 or something, assumed it would be the same thing and was pleasantly surprised when the patient regained the ability to burp and still has. I think it's been like 7 years or something. He was the first patient, I think. So it's actually a muscle memory. It's not neurological. So anyway, I wanted to put it out there because most ENTs don't know what this is. I didn't personally ever talk to my doctor about inability of burping. I just didn't even think about it because it's just something I've always had. My earliest memory is when I was probably about 10 years old, sitting at the kitchen table with my brother and my sister who were younger than me, and them having a burping contest, and I had to judge it because I couldn't burp. So even at that age, it was well known in my family that I couldn't burp. My mom says I could burp as a baby. So somewhere in that 0 to 10 years, I lost the ability. So anyway, a lot of people on that Reddit have gone to doctors for years back and forth, and they get sent to the GI, they get sent to the gas, sent here, there, they get put on medications, and none of it does anything because they're not addressing the problem. And even more frustratingly, a lot of people take now published information from Dr. Bastian. I think Yale has published some things on it now, so it's not really that unknown anymore. And a lot of times people still get dismissed by their doctors or told that that's fine that they don't burp, that's not a big deal. Or they don't believe them, or they tell them that they're lying or that they're making it up, which is bizarre. But anyway, so I will try to put information below to the Reddit page and the Google Doc that shows the list of doctors. And maybe if you're watching this, you can maybe have the same thing as me, or you know somebody, or maybe you don't now, but maybe in weeks, months, or years, you'll run into somebody and they'll tell you they can't burp, and you'll go, I know what this is, and you can get cured of it. If you're younger, get it done, because it gets worse usually as you get older. I feel very fortunate that it was not until I was about 35 that I started really even noticing it. It didn't bother me at all really until then. A lot of people are in college and they're already really suffering and struggling. So if you're younger and you're watching this and you have access to it, just go get it taken care of. We don't want it to get worse. It might not, but it definitely could. So if you can eliminate suffering and pain and problems and all the mental sort of issues that come along with having something that's like this, then do it. My insurance covered it. I've had 2 different insurance companies and they both covered it. So it is coverable under insurance for a lot of people in the United States. The other countries, they have different, some of them are covered, some are not. So that would just depend on your country. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. And if anybody has questions or knows anybody or just wants to reach out, feel free to. And if anybody shows interest in more information about like how my third injection is going and the journey so far, I'll be happy to do that. But for now, I just wanted to make people aware of it and let people more people know about it, because I don't think it's actually as uncommon, and it's very treatable, and it can really, really change the quality of somebody's life. And that is all for now.